The industry can't control real humans like they want to? Well, let's build an AI songstress who will do anything that we program it to. Your gift was her presence. I actually wanted her to retreat expeditiously. We need to get this girl out of here. This whole cookout narrative invitation thing is tired. Across the board, just saying.
I'm nodding like I understand, but I'm not so sure I do.
Hey guys, it's your girl Cameron and I am back at it again with another video. Today we are back at it with a reacting to your unpopular opinions. Now this video technically serves as a part 2 to my last reaction video because you guys not only ran the views up, but in my comments you made it very clear that you wanted a part 2 in ASAP. So I listened to the people. I'm giving you what you want. I am going to be using opinions from that previous unpopular opinions post. It's because a lot of you left tons of comments. So I wanted to do a round 2. And I also made another post to get some more current topics, things that have happened in the last few weeks, so we can really stay current, up to date, and keep it fresh. We will be talking about pop, R&B, music trends, and today I decided to add in a couple of rap opinions. I want to make this very clear disclaimer that I shouldn't have to, but the bigger my platform gets, the more responsible I need to be and the more that I need to protect everybody's peace. So please remain respectful to each other in the comments, to the artists that we talk about today, and to myself. I'm going to start running a tighter ship here.
That handles big business.
I want to make sure that we have a good, positive, nuanced community being cultivated, and any BS is not welcome here. It's not accepted here, and we are going to pack it up. Like I always say, grab a snack, grab something to drink. I got my coffee. Where I am right now, it's a little early. Where you are right now, it might be 5 o'clock. So if you can, grab a glass of wine. Like, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of my uploads. And I wanted to also say thank you to a lot of you guys who have sent well wishes. A few weeks ago, I told you guys, and I was very transparent, that I was dealing with burnout and stress, and some of those symptoms were starting to manifest physically. And that's when you know you need to take a break, you need to refresh. But it put into perspective how important it is to prioritize our health. The older we get, time seems to move faster and faster. I know it has for me. Like last year, I moved to a new city. I moved out of my mom's place, and that comes with a lot of responsibilities on top of already working and just making sure that you're doing okay. As exciting as all of that is, it did and it has started to manifest physically, like I said. But what's helped me feel so secure is I have a great team of doctors that I can reach out to and book appointments with when I need answers. And I've actually found a few of these doctors using today's sponsor, ZocDoc. And it's been my go-to when I need to find a new quality doctor fast. My sponsor, ZocDoc, is a free website where you can search for and compare high quality and network doctors. And ZocDoc isn't just for one type of care. You get specialty from vision to primary to OBGYN. You go on their website, search through physicians, find your fit, and click to instantly book an appointment. It's that easy. And you can also filter through doctors who take your insurance, which is so important, and doctors in your area, as well as doctors that fit your medical needs best. I've been dealing with some hives. Some of them I believe are stress related, but I did want to check in with my dermatologist to make sure that I also didn't have some sort of ongoing skin condition. I actually got some medication to help with some other rising skin conditions. So I was able to kind of address both at the same time. And I actually found this doctor through ZocDoc. There are also verified patient reviews, ratings on the wait time, and detailed doctor profiles. So you know what to expect before you ever step foot into the office. ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. And sometimes you can even score same day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Cameron. Also linked in the description to book an appointment with a top rated doctor today. Thanks again to ZocDoc for being a sponsor. And let's get right into the video. I know y'all are antsy. Let's get it. So we are going to get started like we always do with our pop opinions. We're going to start it off with a bang. So this opinion says, Chapel is doing herself a disservice by waiting 5 years to drop her new album. especially when Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess had songs from 2020. Meanwhile, the album was released in 2023. 5 years from now will be 2030. It's going to ruin her momentum. This comment is coming from Chappell Roan doing an interview with Vogue in August 2025. And she made it clear that, quote, the second project doesn't exist yet and there is no album. Following with, it took me 5 years to write the first one. It's probably going to take at least 5 years to write the rest. Now, 2024 was a huge year for Chappell Roan. As you said, she did drop her Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess the year prior. So she was cooking a little bit. With songs like Good Luck Babe, Pink Pony Club, she completely skyrocketed and she was absolutely everywhere. Mind you, she has been working at this for years on years on years, but she really didn't experience her commercial breakthrough until recently. We know that in this climate with the current algorithm, you have to stay on top. You have to stay on it or else people will forget about you. And y'all know people are very quick to call people a flop now. Very quick, and I don't like that, but they do. But to me, just looking at her as an individual artist and as a person, it's really all about her short and long-term goals. It is no secret that she has had a very hard time adjusting to the standard that pop stars and celebrities are subjected to when it comes to harassment, when it comes to paparazzi, when it comes to public appearances. She has been very transparent about how hard that has been for her. And I even wonder if she has started to reshape in her mind, do I want this that bad? I love music. I love art. She strikes me as somebody who really has an appreciation for music and she does it for the love of the art. So it doesn't seem like she just got into this business to like make money blow up. It seems like she takes time, care, and attention to her craft. And sometimes once you start to reach that taste of success, you realize, you know what? I don't even want it that bad anymore, for real, for real. And we have to put that into perspective. She's perhaps figuring out if she even wants all of the lights, the fame, the fortune, because it's not just about making music, right? The business is so much more. There's so much add-ons and add-ons and add-ons. And for people who really do it for the love of the art, it can be very soul-sucking, draining to have to keep up with the Joneses, to have to keep up with the image. I feel like if projects are rushed, a lot of us complain. I.e. Sabrina Carpenter's Man Best Friend. When she released that, a lot of us, including myself, felt like, wow, that's pretty quick. Is she going to be able to sound evolve? Is it going to feel cohesive, right? She was on a whole tour all of last year. So there's a lot of people who complain when people release quickly. But then if we want to get technical, you look at somebody like Mariah Carey. Very early into her career, she was dropping an album a year, like it was nobody's business. I think it's really case by case, and there is a sweet spot. 5 years is a lot, 1 year is very little, but how do you find the right formula when people move on so quickly? I know she released a single called The Subway recently, and I listened to it. Give it to her. Her vocals sounded pristine. They sounded very crisp. I believe it also charted number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, but I have not seen as many people talking about it as much as maybe some of her old singles. So you're right, it might hurt her momentum, but girl, do you? I don't know. Chappell Roan is just one of them people like, girl, do what you gotta do. Child, if she's gonna take 5 years, she'll take 5 years. I think she's just saying that. I don't think it'll take 5 years, but you know. So someone says, Miley Cyrus should have continued the Bangers character for one more album. I feel like that version of her was so fun and vibrant. Not saying she's not now, but I don't know, man. She just didn't care about anything or what others had to say, and I love that. So I'm glad you used the word character because that's exactly what it was, and that's how I perceived it to be. Now, I totally acknowledge that you're coming at this from the angle of her personality. Like, she was really I don't give a F energy, and she got into a lot of trouble for it. The angle I'm coming from is not so much that. Now, while her Bangers era was quite controversial, there were a lot of good tracks that came out of that era, and she got a lot of attention as a solo artist separated from the Disney brand. Miley is such a talent. She always has been since the Hannah Montana days. In my own unpopular opinion, I actually like a lot of her solo music better when she was Hannah Montana and Miley, like the Disney days. I don't know, her solo music has never like fully hit for me, even though she has a very unique vocal tone. I think she's very talented. I think she's very musically informed. I was never a big fan of the Bangers era, and I actually wanted her to retreat expeditiously when it was going on. But for what it represented in the cultural conversation, this quick phase of adopting slang and, you know, doing the twerk heavy thing, and it felt kind of mockery-like to me in a way that was not very tasteful. It felt like a spectacle, because it was, but an inauthentic one. In a way, it just felt like another iteration of It's Just a Phase, Mom, right? You get these pop artists who are able to shapeshift and go into this genre and go into this genre and do this and wear it like a hat. And so Miley actually got into a lot of heat for this exact sentiment when she did a 2017 interview claiming that rappers' lyrics were too crude, which, okay, like, you got a point. But she pulled a Post Malone and was like, I can't listen to that anymore. That's what pushed me out of the hip hop scene a little. When you took the most stereotypical, caricature-like parts of hip hop,
No ma'am. No ma'am.
because hip hop is not just the commercial mainstream. There are a lot of hip hop artists that represent different sectors. They just don't get the shine. So you have this pop artist who has been able to do this style, came from Disney. Now she's able to do 23, Jordan. Now you're like, oh, I'm done with that. After you literally got on stage and was like going bananas, like crazy. You know what I mean? So it just put a bad taste in my mouth. I just don't love when people use parts of the culture to give themselves some edge, put it on like a costume, and then take it off. And then not only take it off, but then kind of talk shit on it. Although she apologized for those comments, and I think she has been reflective.
And so for me, hip hop at the time was that was like my soul. That was the concerts that I was sneaking out to go to. That was the thing that the CDs my parents wouldn't let me listen to. It wasn't unique in the fact that I was like a white girl listening to hip hop. So that's why where it gets marked up to anything else, it's like that's what had culture on fire at the time.
Do you have any different perspective on that now if you look at it and go, oh, I sort of put myself into this world of hip hop that I felt like was really mine because I was listening to it all the time? That you sort of
again, I wasn't just like listening like a regular person with headphones on with Juicy J. I was friends with Juicy J actually. Yeah. So like, I don't know what to say. Like I was actually smoking fat wax bowls with Wiz Khalifa.
But I stand in the opinion that I think she moved on when she needed to. I do kind of feel like she would have created some irreparable damage had she not. I think a lot of y'all thought it was cute at first, like, okay, but I actually think people would have gotten really tired of it. She has had to play a character her entire life since she was a child. So the Bangers thing, I wasn't super impressed by it. You've been playing a character. Who is Miley? And so even if the music hit a little bit more, whatnot, I support her and her journey and finding her authenticity. All right, so this next opinion, child, this is gonna shake some tables, ruffle some feathers. This person says Beyonce needs to retire.
Okay. Whatever that means. It's getting weird.
My question to this is, who is going to maintain the industry standard of excellence? Beyonce still being active sets a industry precedent, in my opinion, and continues lighting a fire under the asses of all of these artists. You have somebody who is an amazing singer. She is a vocalist, a great dancer, great showmanship, great presence, great production value off of a performance alone, not even talking about her bodies of work. And because there's not much context to your comment, I don't want to put words into your mouth. I don't know what angle you're coming at this from, but I did hypothesize a couple things that I have seen people talk about. One, age. I don't think aging up should be a commercial death sentence. Now, do I want you as an artist? I don't want you saying about the same things that you were singing about at 25, at 38, 39, 40. Drake, I'm talking to you. Drake very specifically is a great example of that. However, I do think that you should get a chance for your music to evolve. When people shut artists up and say, oh, you're getting a little too old now, get out of here. How many life experiences have they lived? How much more is there to talk about now? But you guys kind of want to silence it because you feel like their time has passed. Two, I've heard some people feel like her music is stale, that it's become more stale. And actually, there was opinion in here that I want to briefly read that says, as much as I appreciate Beyonce as an artist, I feel like her 2020 albums are soulless. Beyonce is Beyonce. She's just like a Barbie. And I think that's what rubs me the wrong way, because it's like, what's her personality? What genre will she say no to? I'm not against versatility in artists, but when she does it, it just feels like she's collecting infinity stones. It's interesting to me because people will say, you know, where is your personality? I don't know if that comes from the fact that she doesn't talk to us like she used to, and I think that's kind of smart. I think she's one of the last standing superstars because she keeps a level of mysteriousness and allure. When I think of what's her personality, I think that there's a multifaceted nature to it all. I don't think that a genre needs to replicate or represent a personality trait. I think in Cowboy Carter, she told a very clear story, right? She was starting to delve into some historical information, her roots. And when you say collecting, you know, genres like Infinity Stones, what doesn't she do? But at this point, when you're in the industry for 25 years, aren't you kind of trying to collect Infinity Stones? Like, I'm trying to like keep topping my shit. I'm trying to do something I haven't done. I don't think that's necessarily a negative thing. It's continuously tapping into different sounds she hasn't done. And if she didn't do that, then people would say your music has sounded the same for 25 years. That would be a problem, and she wouldn't be here that long. And B, she's still bending vocal boundaries. So it's obviously subjective. Like, I'm not arguing. Like, if it's not hitting for you, it's not hitting for you. How would you articulate? How do you want her to present more authentic or to find that soul, that heartbeat in her music? Because there's a lot of people who still feel that. So I feel like you're just basically kind of saying you just don't like the music as much as you did anymore. But I feel like this is a case of you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You do the same thing forever. People are kind of, they're on your ass, and then you're out the door as soon as you got in the door. And then if you're switching it up, now it's a cash grab, now it's inauthentic, now it's this one, it's that. I don't see how it's a problem that she wants to finally revisit that when she now has the tenure and level of respect to do so. This one says, I thought this year was Tyla's year. Now, there are such split opinions on somebody like Tyla, and that's why I wanted to include this. I will be doing a full-length video, and I've been trying to kind of refrain from talking about her because I want to wait till she releases her second album, which I believe is supposed to come this year. A lot of people were using her WWP EP numbers and the bust that supposedly was to determine her career trajectory, and I just don't think that's fully fair. But I do feel like things have halted a tad, okay? And I say that because she has so many segmented audiences globally that I think that she's doing fine in other places. I think she's fine. I think in the US, that's where the iffiness comes to play. A lot of people have commented on her quote unquote cultural sensitivity or lack thereof. People have mixed opinions on the way that she's maneuvered media and answering questions and her temperament and her behavior. It's giving diva, it's giving this child, because I don't even feel like a lot of her controversies, they don't feel like solid controversies to me. Like, a lot of the times when people say I don't like Tyla, it feels like you guys are like reaching for straws to come up with a strong reason why we need to get this girl out of here. One thing to not love her music, that's fine, do what you want to do. But all of the personal stuff, I personally not understood all of that. For perspective, her first single that she ever released was released in 2019. Then she signed with Epic Records and also a venture with a South African label, Fax, in 2021. And Epic is an American label so that she could be marketed to the US and get more of a global standing. So right off the bat when she was signed, she was trying to cater to this global market, and that could be really hard when you don't build a super, super strong ironclad base. Right? And I don't know if like that had something to do with it. It's like building blocks, I would think, especially culturally. As a global artist, you're going to all these countries, you're doing all these interviews, there's all these different customs and ways of living and nuances that when all of that happens at once, it could be very overwhelming to reel it in. You know, I'm seeing a lot of like she's over videos and she's over party, like it's done. I think it's too early to throw in the towel on Tyla. I think you guys, as much as you say that these artists are rushing the process, I think as listeners, you guys are rushing people. They get here, they're here for a moment, and then you expect, oh no, she's done. And she's literally like 3 years into her career. She's really like 2 years into her mainstream career. And she might not pop. I'm talking global domination for another 3 or 4 years. And I actually think that's pretty normal. Let me know if you are from overseas or where you live. What is the reception to Tyla and her music? I think she makes good music. The mic is on.
Hopefully, guys, I need help over there. Sorry.
But I think in the US, there just seems to be a lot of discourse over what she does or doesn't do. And I think that has kind of hurt people's interest. All right, we are going to get to the R&B category. This is one of my favorites. This first opinion says, I'm disappointed because as a community, we enjoy seeing non-Black folks in R&B spaces instead of supporting our own sometimes. Also, when non-Black folks sing soulful, we automatically invite them into our culture or say they're Black or invited to the cookout because they can sing soulful. Don't get me wrong, I love their music, but it's okay to say you like them for their soulful voice and not associate them with being of the culture. Snaps, tens across the board.
You have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
And I have to check myself too. We're going to talk about this today because I think a lot of us do it for jokes and we laugh. This whole cookout narrative invitation thing is tired across the board outside of music. Just because there's people outside of our culture and community who like to enjoy the things that we have created and cultivated does not mean we have to give them a race card or we have to try to assign Blackness.
Because, baby, you Black, okay? Right. You're Black.
To whatever they are, right? You can appreciate a non-Black soulful singer and their talent. In R&B, there have been several people over the years, over decades, who have been welcomed into these spaces and who have done excellent work. Tina Marie, Bobby Caldwell, Robin Thicke. Bro, I mean, he has one of my favorite albums of all time. We talk about Justin Bieber. I did a whole video on Justin Jaquavius Bieber, the Bizzle era. And actually, I want to talk about this. In Justin's Swag album, he had Drewski on a couple of the interludes. And in one of the interludes, he says, quote, "Your skin's white, but your soul's Black." Well, no. To check myself, I have been slightly guilty as a Mocha Grande here. I've been slightly guilty, like as a joke, as a jokey joke. You know, people say Black Kiana and all of that. Like, I get it. It's like a signifier. You're saying when she was singing like a little, you know what I mean? Like, Patti LaBelle was on stage talking about.
I said, sing like that little white Black girl that you are. That's what I said. She got soul like a mug.
We do it a lot for jokes. But I think sometimes, especially in this climate, we got to reel it in. You guys get passes, and then there's no gatekeepers. And then people are just coming in here who then don't actually appreciate the culture, because R&B music, soul, rhythm and blues is culture. Hip hop is culture. So then when you just let everybody in and the barrier of entry is, oh, it's a white girl with a soulful voice, and you don't hold them accountable at all to respecting the legends, respecting the greats, respecting the art form. Sing, it's music. If you got a voice, if you got talent, do it. But we, I think, also have to hold ourselves a little bit accountable. We do that a little too much, and I think we've gotten too comfortable with that. And then we're in turn very, very hard on the Coco Jones of the world and the Chloe Baileys of the world and the Normanis of the world. But let somebody with some blonde hair come in here,
Putting some blonde hair on it,
and sing with a soulful voice and, oh, invited to the cookout. But the girls who've been doing this, who eat, sleep, live, and breathe this, you guys are the same people mad that a hair is out of place. A hair is out of place in a picture. Just saying. This next one says, we desperately need a new male R&B star. I think part of the reason why people are clinging to Chris Brown so much, despite his problematic behavior, is because we have nobody else. It's about time a new R&B male star shakes the game up and gives us something new and refreshing. I partially agree, but I partially disagree with this. I do agree that I think the reason why people cling on to Chris is not just because of the music, but because he's kind of this triple threat. He dances, he's a performer, he has this larger than life personality on stage, and then he also makes the music. If you listen to a lot of Chris's earlier work, I mean, he could sing. I mean, he had a lot of passion, grit on the track while still having that star quality. I think what we have to do is we can't be looking for the next Chris Brown. That's what we have to let go of. We can have a new male R&B star, but that's going to look different than an Usher, than a Chris Brown. And that's okay. The more we keep trying to find carbon copies of is when we're going to get disappointed. So I'm going to list a couple of people. You guys let me know also, but check these guys out. Duran Bernard is probably the best male vocalist right now. Vocal agility, vocal flexibility, high notes, deep notes, fun music, fun lyrics. Plays it up. He has a lot of character. Definitely check him out. Another person, Elmine. He's making great, more fundamentally R&B music. Great presence. Lucky Day. He's been hustling. You guys know. I think he had even auditioned for American Idol back in 2008, 2006, something like that. He's been trying to hustle. I think he makes really good music. And then this guy, I really want to focus on him because I think he's kind of the closest to what you guys might be looking for. His name is Jadon, and he's an 18-year-old R&B singer on the rise, and he's actually signed to Usher and L.A. Reid's label. So yes, Usher is involved in the development. I know Jermaine Dupri has been working with him, but he's a very talented kid, and he's had his hand in the music industry since he was a child. He used to go by J.D. McCrary. And he was also the voice for young Simba in the 2019 Lion King film. So that was the same film that Beyonce did. And he's really been rubbing shoulders. So now they're trying to rebrand him and age him up in a way that feels authentic, appropriate. But I think he has it, y'all. I do. Check out his music video and song for I'll Be Good.
Can't tell you sorry. Can't say my bad.
He kind of gives this tease of like a Chris Brown and a Mario. I would say even a little more so Mario, honestly. And I think they're following a formula, right? But they're leaving room. I think he has a lot of room and talent to make it his own. So I will definitely be keeping an eye out for him. Plus, I like how he's younger. He's only 18. So this could give the kids somebody to really grow with and stick with. Because I also think younger people need stuff to listen to that's more so appropriate. And then he can kind of build his way up and he can take his time. And for the last opinion in the R&B section, this one says, Keke Palmer doesn't get enough praise for her music, which is really upsetting because seeing how her other white counterparts who also did and does acting as well, like Ariana Grande, for example, are seen more as artists instead of someone who does both singing and acting. In comparison to how Keke Palmer gets treated with her music is insane. And then they did add a little note. I'm not trying to compare Ariana Grande and Keke Palmer when it comes to vocals. Keke can sing, but Aria can hit them notes for real. I'm actually pretty well versed on Keke's music. I am somebody who has tried to kind of tune in to her releases over the years. I think that she has a really nice voice. I think it's distinctive. I think either people just genuinely don't realize she does music, and I think that might be more of a marketing thing, or people find it to be a side mission. I don't ever think that music was like, there was a point where Keke was just doing music. There was always a lot of other things going on, from acting to hosting, etc. I like some of her songs. I do. Standards, Virgo Tendencies, Better to Have Loved is a Bop, Enemies. Like, I think that melodically she has a really good ear for music. But what I've noticed throughout her career and her releases is for every really good song, there's a lot of filler. Feels reminiscent of what someone else is doing currently in the R&B landscape, right? And I agree. I think she could be credited more for being a triple threat. I do think that she should get more credit for that. But again, when she's trying to establish herself in like the mid 2010s and you got all of these R&B girls coming out and getting all of this support and they're just musicians, I just don't think, I think people are like, oh, we like Keke in acting, we like her in hosting, we're gonna keep it there. We don't really have much of an interest to go outside of that. Now, you mentioned Ariana Grande, and I do kind of want to like put this into perspective. Ariana does not nearly have the same amount of acting credits as Keke Palmer. She never has. And Ariana just started taking a serious acting role with Wicked. Otherwise, it was Victorious, it was some Broadway. Scream Queens? That was it. Keke Palmer has been working since she was a child. I think she started Barbershop too. We had Akilah in the Bee with Lawrence Fishburne. So I don't think it's really apples to oranges. She wasn't just a Nick kid. So that's where that's a little different. I think they've always led Keke's career with her foot forward in acting. I get it. A lot of her roles, as she did Joyful Noise, Jump In, she had some singing. Rags, I love Rags. Oh my goodness, I love Rags. And I think she was great in that. I think the music was great in that. I love Kiki's So Uncool album in 2007. Keep It Big Box, great music, especially for her to be so young. And I think she kind of should have kept her foot on the gas, but then I think the acting would have suffered. Next, we are going to throw some rap in here. We're gonna do like 2 quick little opinions. This person says, Lotto and Ice Spice's collaboration just didn't make any sense. I was shocked to see it pop up on my Spotify. The song was fine and the brain rap vocabulary was cute too. I think the collab was unnecessary because 1, Lotto is much talented than Ice Spice. I agree. And 2, Ice Spice is kind of irrelevant now despite her collaboration with Cat's Eye on Gnarly. But kind of surprised when I saw they were doing a collab because as you guys may or may not know, they had some beef. And I love how you put that in parentheses because yeah, like I don't even know, in hindsight, marketing. This was absolutely a cash grab, to say the least, and it came and went. I don't think this was like a let's bury the hatchet, let's really do like some female unity shit. I think it was like, hey, we can kind of tolerate each other, let's do this, it's gonna get people talking. And Ice Spice just released a new single, I think it's called Baddie Baddie, so they needed to kind of prime her a little bit into releasing again. Ice's last releases haven't really done all of that much, right? Ice clearly, to me, needed a soft launch back into the industry. She had too many problems with too many people, and the mean girl allegations were mean girling. The stuff with Cleo, well, the stuff with Lotto put a bad taste, but like a lot of people were coming out. The Deli music video, I think her team, she probably knew, hey, it's probably good to at least squash one beef before we try to come back and do this thing again. And if she can bury the hatchet, if Lotto can be cool with her, maybe we could start to debt some things. And then also becoming very adjacent with A-listers very fast, whether it be through hanging out with them or features. Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj, it boosted her social status very quickly without the music to match it yet. But quiet as kept, Lotto kind of needed some attention too. I think it could benefit both of them. Now, I wish that Lotto kind of worked her album Sugar Honey Iced Tea a little bit. I thought that she had a very cohesive sound and concept, and I think people run from their projects too much now. You drop this single, you drop in this single. It was strategic. It didn't give kumbaya for real. Like I wasn't getting that. The music video was cute. I think the concept was, the execution maybe could have been a little bit better, but I like the creative direction of it. They should have did this a little sooner maybe. I just don't think actually people cared that much. And the song is okay. It's okay. It's not memorable. I don't know if it's really going up like that, but I don't know. So this person said, call me a hater, but Cardi B's recent album, Am I the Drama, isn't good at all. Sure, many of the songs she pours her heart out and her drama with Offset, but I feel like most of the album is a reread of things she's always done. From a production standpoint, it's extremely underwhelming with generic drill beats and trap beats, nothing memorable or creative. Also adding old songs that we've already heard many times, it just felt like a cop-out to sell more records. I kind of like the album. However, went into it knowing that Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy, she's not recreating that project. There was no way in hell she was going to be able to do that. After letting things drag so long, I kind of just enjoyed it for what it was. Now, do I agree that some of the production choices, I wasn't super thrilled with the heavy trap beats. They felt a little aged out, but I think there were some tracks that were, fun and a little bit different. I feel like the Kehlani Safe record is very on trend right now, actually. Nice Guy with Tyler was one of my favorites, and I felt like that was very futuristic and fun and bright. Some of the rap tracks, like Magnet, Salute was one I really liked, Killing You Hoes. There was some stuff on here. I feel like she gave a lot of different tastes. So I don't necessarily agree with the whole it's a reread of everything. Now, did some of the bars and the topics being talked about get redundant? Yes, I felt like the album was a little bloated. There were too many tracks. If it was maybe 16, I think it would have been very concise. I think it would have forced her to be a bit more focused on her messaging. I'm also not the biggest fan of adding WAP and Up. Obviously, it was for numbers. I think we all know that. She said that it's because the fans wanted it, but I don't think the fans really cared about it being on the album. I think for the optics, Cardi and her team wanted it to be a slam dunk so no one could talk shit about the numbers. Because as fans, you guys get mad at artists for being fixated on the numbers, but as fans, a lot of y'all have become hyper fixated on the numbers. And you will call somebody a flop if it doesn't get a certain amount of streams in a day. You will call somebody a flop if, oh, in the first week it didn't sell X, Y, and Z, as if the album can't sell after the first week. So in a way, it's like y'all sitting here, oh, the artist only, I know why she did it. I get it. But the only reason why I wasn't thrilled about it as an album ender, it just messed with the cohesiveness to me of the story being told. I feel like Killing You Hoes would have been the perfect ender, subject matter wise, sonically. That's what irritated me about that. Like, this already is too long. But I just don't see how in any world anybody could have thought that it was going to be just as clean, pristine as Invasion of Privacy. Sophomore slump is a real thing, y'all. Sophomore slump is a real thing. We say it for a reason. And that's why I even said in my other video, when I did that video on her, I concluded it with drop the album, but you have to drop the I want it to be perfect. And look what she did. She literally announced that she was releasing it like 10 days after I made that video. So I don't know if I summoned something. Let's go to our last section. We are going to go to music trends, miscellaneous, but mainly trends, what's going on in the industry right now. Someone said Mariah Carey going on to Kai Cenat and really other legacy artists going on to teen or young adult podcasts that are mainly brain rot comedy don't feel right. I understand getting the youth's ears on your project, but I think it gets pushed back because you should have cemented yourself enough to have a fan base ready, or at the very least not care as much because you've done it all. But maybe Mariah and others are just having fun and we shouldn't be so judgmental because she's older, but the optics are interesting. I agree with this. I saw the clip of it and I was like, oh, don't love it. But I was also like, do what you want to do. This is kind of the new age of marketing. But it's funny, you made a comment about this before all of this even blew up. But it did kind of backfire a bit. One of Kai Cenat's friends, I think his name is Ty Lil, but they went on an episode of Hot Ones. They did a live stream with Hot Ones. And he was asked, who was your least favorite guest for Mafia-thon 3? And this was his answer.
Who's the worst celebrity in Mafia-thon 3?
Mariah Carey. Damn.
All right.
And I only say Mariah Carey because I feel like her intentions was to promote her album, and I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with that. You feel what I'm saying? Because business, you gotta respect good business. You feel what I'm saying? But what was the exchange for us? Like, I know she didn't want to sing, I know she didn't want to dance. You feel what I'm saying? But I feel like Kai, he held up his end of the burden. She promoted her album. Kai spoke to the kids. He did everything that he wanted. He did everything that probably was her team intentions and her intentions. And I feel like it wasn't really nothing in exchange. If you're gonna come on Mafia-thon, be ready to do what's in the box. Be ready to do Hot Ones. Be ready to jump in the pool. Be ready to, you feel what I'm saying? Be ready to come have fun. You guys, the guests are older. You might not understand what we're doing, and that's what's, you feel what I'm saying? That's what the rush is for.
Yeah,
you feel what I'm saying? That's what's the excitement. When you come into Mafia-thon, you don't know what to expect. You feel what I'm saying? So that's how I feel, and I'm not gonna hold my tongue for anybody because this is my friend
And this was his answer. So his whole angle was, I felt like she was just there to promote her music. What do we get in return? Child, these kids, I feel like an auntie sometimes. I swear. We didn't get anything in return. Your gift was her presence. And can we talk about the fact that she still sang on live stream?
I know she didn't want to sing.
You got the best of me.
She was still kikiing with y'all. Like, she was still trying, and she's an older woman. Like, what do you guys want her to do? Jumping into pools, doing backflips?
Enamored? Is that the word?
I am
Enamored.
I got it. Enamored.
Enamored.
Like I'm like. She said no. I am.
Is it M-N?
Like, help us
like,
pronounce
I
it.
It's like
Sound it out.
Enamored.
Oh, I bet.
Enamored.
And that's why sometimes I agree. It's good to leave kids things to kids. Then to go on here, do this to kind of be with the new wave. I know her kids watch stream and stuff like that. So that's a part of it. And then to be disrespected like that by a kid. You sat with a legend and she still gave you your time and she was still interacting and participating, and that's what you have to say? Duh, they're there to promote the music. They're gonna be hanging out with a bunch of teenage to young 20-year-old men who are being goofy on purpose, who are clip farming, who are looking and fishing for clips. Like, even when Kehlani was there and that one little boy walked in talking about some, hi Tyla, he was clearly doing it to be funny.
Me too. I always want to meet you, Tyler.
but like everything doesn't have, like, let's have some base respect. And I don't get it. That's why I don't watch that content, and that's okay. I leave it where it's at. But I think sometimes these artists who care about their for real should leave that where it's at, especially if they're promoting something. Like, y'all really think they just come in to hang out with you? Like, I'm talking like older artists, women particularly. Maybe the rappers are coming to hang out with y'all, but this is a different echelon. This is a different realm. This is a different ball game. Publicists, PR agents, whoever's booking the stuff, everything doesn't have to be for every artist. I get it. You have to try things. Hey, you try something, see if it works. If it doesn't, then you don't do it again. And I don't think she'll be doing that again. And I think some people are too talented and about their business to be possibly caught up in streamer discourse. So someone says there's a huge untapped market for AI music and similar content, which is only going to grow. But someone said the news about the AI artist Dana Monet getting a $2 million record deal and having a song on the charts is a sad part of the music industry today. They'd rather push these AI robots than humans who make music with their blood, sweat, and tears. She's getting more of a push in the industry than some underground artists. As much as I think that this should be popular, y'all be using ChatGPT as your therapist. So I don't know what people's lines are. I don't know where the lines blur, where it begins. So I did want to talk about this to make it clear where I stand and to start an open conversation. So to give you guys context, there's an artist, an AI artist named Dana Monet, who many musicians have been speaking out against publicly. Tiffany Evans made a video.
Don't let me find out you ran my voice through the Suno app. Or Kaylani's or any of our voices. Because that's exactly what y'all doing. Y'all running our voices through these apps trying to get live results. No, you're dead.
Kaylani made a video, Chloe made a tweet, SZA spoke out about it. This artist, I believe she actually got signed to a $3 million deal, and it was reported by Billboard Pro. So this is reported by Billboard. If you want to look it up, there's videos on social media. Go look through there, but don't stream it. And I saw news recently that she has earned over 17 million on-demand streams since her debut 2 months ago. It's no longer just dubbing AI vocals, like an AI Drake voice to make, you know, a demo version. It's no longer that. We're not doing that anymore. It's to the point where people are creating whole new voices and also packaging it with an image. But I don't think it's a coincidence that more and more artists are starting to find independence. They're starting to opt out of the industry model. They're like, you know what? I can actually do this with myself with all the tools that social media can employ. The industry can't control real humans like they want to. Well, let's build an AI songstress who will do anything that we program it to. We don't have to argue about the image. We don't have to argue about a rebrand. We don't have to argue about X, Y, and Z. That's it. People are the heart and the soul of music. Now, to give you a bit more context, to dig deeper, Billboard Pro reported that this AI artist is in pair with a human lyricist named Talisha Jones. Okay, so there is somebody who's allegedly writing the lyrics. She's putting it through a software. And then that is in turn the image that we see in the voice that we hear. Now, someone said that this just sounds like a 21st century version of a Milli Vanilli situation, but with a Black Mirror twist. This lady says that she writes the lyrics, but then runs it through the software to create a song. You know what? This is me playing devil's advocate a tad. I know that it's really hard in this industry to get on stage, to make yourself vulnerable, to put yourself out there in front of thousands of people. But you might have songwriting talent, or you might have singing talent. So hiding behind AI gives you the opportunity. Okay, I don't have the look, I have the voice though, so I can sing it, but I can have this face. Like, I think some people are looking at it in a positive way, like, okay, well, the bar of entry to be in the industry is already really difficult. So how about I take it down a notch and I do this, and now I have the image. I don't have to worry about the image. Now I just have to worry about the music. But best believe there's going to be some people who are going to start doing all of the above. AI will write their lyrics at some point. AI will sing it, and AI will produce the image. Even if humans are involved in the process of creating this, it still feels like a slap in the face.
The poet knows that they're not a vocalist and that their singing ability alone wasn't enough to land them a music deal. So they turn to AI. If I can write and I just need somebody to sing, why wouldn't I just go into the world and look for somebody that already can? Somewhere there is a vocalist, a singer that's pulling their hair out because they can't write their next verse. You don't want to collaborate for what reason? Like,
very real artists who have had to work for it, who have had to put themselves out there, who have had to curate their image, endless shows, networking events, countless team meetings. Where I lightly differ and I don't get as doomsday about it, and I could be wrong. I don't want to underestimate the evolution of technology. But one thing that's really hard for AI to do is to build tangible human connection. And I get it. Some people are starting to marry the two and think that it's some companion. But I say it in the way that holograms, yes, they exist, and they probably will become more advanced. So I'm not saying they can't use those for concerts, but a huge part of the artist's appeal has been the human interaction and its possibility, its potential to happen. And one thing that I've always loved, and I've been so introspective about this when it comes to art and music specifically, is that as extraordinary as these people are doing what they do and creating experiences that we can deeply connect to, they're living life like you and I. Sometimes in the same country, sometimes in the same city. Sometimes we meet these people, sometimes we interact, and it creates this like almost, I don't want to say it in a creepy parasocial way, but it creates like a bond. It does. And that's the excitement of going to see your favorite artist or to go to a meet and greet. And with an AI being, I don't see in the next 20, 30, 40 years that being something that's going to eat like that. Now, in 200 to 300 years, when people are very far removed from human interaction, that's a different story. So I do think we need to push back on it. There are obviously untapped markets. I think we should not tap into them. I think we should leave it. I think we should just leave it. But you already got, playmakers. You already got producers. Timbaland has an AI artist. Right? He was one of the most notable producers in the 2000s, and he's doing AI artists. Mind you, he was somebody who was saying that, oh, R&B don't hit. There's nobody with no soul, but now you're making an AI artist. And he was on stream arguing with someone who was trying to tell him the dangers of using AI.
No. Hey, hold on. You talking to the king. Now, hold on. Because a machine sounds like, oh, you just mad at the machine, but this is me.
So what you're saying is the machine is...
No, it's what I prompt.
So what do you guys think of this? Do you think that it's really that much of a threat? Or do you think that people are fear-mongering? Or do you think, hey, we need to nip this in the bud because this will end real artists? I'm very curious. So let me know your thoughts. And lastly, our last opinion, my hot take, borrowed from TikTok creator Ashley the Amazon, shout out to her, is that contemporary art, and by extension, a lot of contemporary music, struggles because many younger artists don't study the greats or build strong creative foundations. In a great conversation that I wanted to end this with, because I agree. And we just talked about in the last video how many pop artists are sourcing samples and nostalgia. And so some people might mistake that as, oh, she studies the greats. Oh, they're studying. But I think something about studying the greats can spark innovation. I think you should study the greats with the intention to build on your craft, but not to copy. They're looking at Pinterest boards. And I think that's the difference. I say this a lot, but I have a lot of new viewers. I grew up dancing my entire life. And at one point, I was thinking about pursuing it professionally. So I studied around the country. I also studied under some very prominent figures. For example, when I studied in LA under Debbie Allen, she had us taking physical tests. We were taking physical paper tests. And we had to study about dance history. Guys, this is dance history, to at least understand the fundamentals and come from an informed place. And it also builds a lot of passion. She's an icon. She's a legend. So she did not play. We were taking tests. And when we were done, she came in the room and she went over all the answers with all of us. And we got graded right there. She personally graded our tests. I was taught by people to be a student of your craft, right? You're taking a test. You're studying outside of the studio. You're reading upon the techniques of the great while also taking classes in those techniques, right? So you're learning about Martha Graham. You're learning about Alvin Ailey, which I was able to study at that school for a summer. We're learning the Dunham technique. We're learning about Catherine Dunham. We're learning the history, right? To be a knowledgeable dancer, a knowledgeable artist is powerful. Nowadays, I don't think artists study their craft like an engineer studies math or like a scientist is studying. And I know that it's not the same. It's kind of apples and oranges, but we don't want to pick up books to also study our craft. And I think that could help a lot. After the VMAs, there was a clip of Cat's Eye that went viral.
We're honoring Mariah Carey tonight. Do you guys have a favorite Mariah Carey music video? We'll go one by one. I feel like everyone got one.
Because she won the Vanguard. And clearly there was some confusion or not one of 6 of them knew any videos, which You know, I'm not trying to be a grumpy auntie. Like, I get it. I get it. I get it. Like, I don't expect them to know the videos as well. But when they deterred the question and they said, well, I have my favorite song.
Who wants to buy first?
My favorite song. It's either Obsessed or My All. Yeah, for sure. Same. Yeah. I have to think about this a little more. There's too many. I'm like still thinking. There's actually too many. Yeah.
What they said. We love it. We love it.
You know, I'm not here to like pitchforks. I wasn't that angry about it, but in the context of this comment, that is a perfect example. These girls are very talented at what they do. They seem very passionate, but the missing link that I think could either take their craft to the next level or take the music to the next level is the history.
Mariah Carey followed all of us. The legends of all the legends. Like, what an honor.
There's people you should be studying. I'm sorry. It's the same way, like I said, as a dancer. There are certain people, no matter how far in the past they were, you study them. I don't care if they're not your generation. I get Ariana is y'all's Mariah. So for the younger girls, they're going to say Ariana, and I love that for her. She's an amazing vocalist. I love both of them. But there are some people, no matter how generations you are removed, you should be studying it. It's the same way how a lot of performers study Michael Jackson. I feel like if you are a singer in 2025 and you are a vocalist and that's what you say you do, I don't know. I think there's at least 3 people you should be studying. At least, discography-wise, just to do it. Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion. Listen below. If you want to get technical, do some Aretha Franklin. Give me some Patti LaBelle. I'm telling you, there's more, but I think at the very least you could do those 3. And it informs you on, hey, listen to the deep cut so you can understand the nuances of like the runs and like how they sang and how they structured songs, right? How did she like express her emotion? How did the lyrics fit? And I know people are going to say,
no, Grandma, these artists are young. You'll live if they don't know X, Y, and Z artists. You'll live if they don't know X, Y, and Z song. Who cares?
But I just think for any creative, I don't care what it is, physical art, music, dance, writing, acting, study the greats. It can spark innovation in yourself. Not copying, but innovation. You also get more exposed to the possibilities. And I think you get inspired. You say, oh, they did this. I could do this. Maybe I could do this a little better. I'm going to take this base idea, but I'm going to take it up a level and a notch and a notch and a notch until it just becomes iconic itself. And now you're spawning into different things that have never been done before because you study. You're a student. You're not just looking off of a mood board, you're studying. And I also think in this generation, these new stars have like digital footprints from when they were like 5 or 6, okay? Literally. So constantly being watched, having to strike the algorithm while it's hot, development and taking some time to really soak in and do the research and hone your craft is not always easy. I get it. Because you disappear for artists in development, everybody's like, where's she's at? She's a flop, she's a flop, she's a flop. So I get it. But education is cool. Be a nerd about that shit. Thank you guys so much for watching this unpopular opinions video part 2. What opinion did you agree with? Which one was the most outlandish? What do you think? Let me know. Hit that subscribe button down below to stay up to date with all of my releases. And before you leave, click the link in the description, ZocDoc.com/Cameron, to check out and book a top-rated doctor instantly today. Thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video yet again. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.